I see my face distorted in the surface of the polished conference room table, fractured, multiplied, and unrecognizable, much like everything else in my life since this morning's board meeting. The algorithm doesn't exist, Victoria had said. It never did. I'd watched her manicured fingers tap against her coffee cup once, twice, 3 times, the same nervous tell she'd displayed during our Series B presentation 2 years ago. Even then, I should have known she was lying. Are you saying that Perfect Match has been randomly pairing users this entire time? I asked. Her eyes met mine across the table, and for a moment, I saw something flicker there. Guilt? Fear? Satisfaction? According to our engineering team, yes. They've been operating under a completely different system than what we've been presenting to investors and the public. The other board members had erupted in questions, but their voices became white noise. All I could think about was David. Sweet, reliable David with his terrible jokes and his habit of leaving coffee rings on the nightstand. David, who I'd married 18 months ago after Perfect Match's algorithm determined we were 94% compatible. David, who I was now divorcing because we couldn't agree on anything. Not where to live, not whether to have children, not even what to watch on Netflix. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd invested $3 million in a company that promised to revolutionize human connection through data science, only to discover it was the equivalent of throwing darts at a board while blindfolded. And somehow, this random chaos had achieved an 89% success rate. How long have you known? I'd asked Victoria. I discovered it this morning during our quarterly review. The engineering team finally came clean. Her voice carried the weight of someone who'd been betrayed, but I'd known Victoria for 5 years. I'd seen her dissect quarterly reports like a surgeon, examine user metrics with the intensity of a detective. There was no way she'd been operating in ignorance. Now, 3 hours later, I sit in my car outside the law offices of Brennan and Associates, watching rain streak down the windshield. The manila envelope containing my divorce papers sits on the passenger seat, testament to Perfect Match's spectacular failure. At least, that's what I'd thought until Victoria's revelation. My phone buzzes. A text from David, "Can we talk?" I've been thinking about what you said. What I'd said. 3 weeks ago, during our final argument, I'd screamed that we were fundamentally incompatible, that no amount of counseling could bridge the gap between who we were. The algorithm had been wrong, I'd insisted. We were a mistake. But what if we weren't? What if the randomness had actually worked, and we'd simply convinced ourselves otherwise? I delete the message without responding. Attorney Margaret Brennan has the kind of sharp features that suggest she's comfortable with confrontation, which is exactly what I need right now. Tell me about the damages, she says, settling behind her desk with a legal pad. Emotional distress, financial loss, dissolution of marriage. The words feel rehearsed, clinical. I invested in this company based on fraudulent claims about their technology. I used their app personally, which led to a marriage that's now ending in divorce. Brennan's pen scratches across the paper. The company's public statements about their algorithm? Completely fabricated. They claimed proprietary AI technology that analyzed personality traits, communication patterns, shared values. None of it existed. And you believe the CEO knew? This is the question I've been avoiding. Victoria Jameson is many things, but she's not incompetent. She's brilliant, actually. MIT graduate, former Google executive. She built Perfect Match from the ground up, knew every aspect of the business. I pause, remembering the way Victoria had looked at me during the board meeting. She knew. Can you prove it? I'm working on it. What I don't tell Brennan is that I've already started. During my years in venture capital, I learned that the most damaging secrets are hidden in the mundane details: expense reports, email timestamps, server logs. If Victoria knew about the algorithm fraud, there would be evidence. I'd started with the obvious: company communications. As a board member, I have access to quarterly reports, but I need deeper access. I need to see the technical specifications, the development timelines, the internal communications between Victoria and her engineering team. My phone rings as I'm leaving Brennan's office. Victoria's name appears on the screen. Cass, I know you're upset. Upset? I cut her off. I'm filing a lawsuit against your company. That's somewhat beyond upset. Can we meet? There are things I need to explain. The time for explanations was before I invested $3 million in a lie. Please. 1 hour. The coffee shop on 5th Street. I almost refuse, but something in her voice stops me. Victoria Jameson doesn't plead. She commands, negotiates, strategizes. But she doesn't plead. 1 hour, I say. The coffee shop is nearly empty, just a few laptop-wielding students and a businessman reading the Wall Street Journal. Victoria sits in the corner, hands wrapped around a steaming mug. She looks smaller than I remember, diminished. I need you to understand something, she says before I can sit down. The algorithm was never supposed to be random. But it was. Yes, but not intentionally. She leans forward, her voice dropping. We hired Dr. Clay Townsend to develop the matching system. He had credentials from Stanford, published papers on computational psychology. His algorithm was supposed to be revolutionary. What happened? He disappeared. 3 months into development, he simply vanished. Left behind a basic random matching system with sophisticated-looking interface code. By the time we discovered the deception, we'd already received series of funding based on his promises. I study her face, searching for deception. So you decided to continue the fraud? We decided to see if it would work. Victoria's eyes meet mine. And it did, Cass. Somehow, random matching created more successful relationships than any traditional dating method. We were going to transition to a real algorithm once we understood why. That's quite a story. It's the truth. Then why didn't you tell the board? Victoria's composure cracks slightly. Because I was terrified. We'd built a billion-dollar company on a lie that accidentally became a truth. How do you explain that to investors? I want to believe her. The Victoria I know is ambitious, driven, occasionally ruthless in pursuit of success. But she's not a sociopath. She wouldn't deliberately destroy people's lives for profit. What about the success rate? I ask. The 89% figure? Actually real. We track user outcomes through surveys, social media monitoring, and follow-up interviews. The random pairings were actually working better than pairings from traditional dating apps. Then why is my marriage falling apart? Victoria's expression softens. Because compatibility isn't just about matching personality traits. It's about timing, growth, willingness to compromise. The algorithm, random or not, could only bring you together. Everything else was up to you and David. The words hit harder than I expected. I think about the fights David and I had, the way we'd stopped trying to understand each other, the gradual erosion of goodwill. Had we been sabotaging something that might have worked? I need proof, I say finally. If what you're saying is true, show me. Victoria slides a USB drive across the table. Dr. Towsend's original communications, development logs, the real metrics. Everything. I pocket the drive without looking at it. Why are you giving me this? Because I want to make it right. Perfect Match should have been transparent from the beginning. We were so focused on the success that we forgot about the foundation. And now? Now we tell the truth. All of it. The random matching, the unexpected success, the ethical implications. Let the users decide if they want to continue with a system that works for reasons we don't fully understand. I stand to leave, then pause. Victoria, did you know about the algorithm from the beginning? She looks up at me, and for the first time I see genuine vulnerability in her expression. I suspected something was wrong 6 months after launch. I confirmed it a year ago. A year ago, I got married 9 months ago. I know. You let me make the biggest decision of my life based on information you knew was false. I thought, hoped, that if it was working, the foundation didn't matter. The foundation always matters. I walk out into the rain, the USB drive burning in my pocket like a guilty secret. By the time I reach my car, I've made my decision. 3 days later, I'm sitting in David's kitchen, our kitchen, technically, though I'd been staying at my sister's place since the separation. The divorce papers lie unsigned on the table between us, next to printouts of Dr. Webb's communications and Perfect Match's internal data. So we were randomly matched, David says, stirring sugar into his coffee. Like a cosmic coin flip. Apparently. And it worked. For most people. According to the data, yes. David leans back in his chair, studying me. Do you think we would have found each other without the app? Question I've been avoiding. I don't know. Probably not. But we did find each other. And for a while, it was good. It was good, I agree. Before we started fighting about everything. Maybe that's not about compatibility. Maybe that's about fear. I look at him, really look at him, for the first time in weeks. His hair is disheveled, his eyes tired. Fear of what? Fear that if we weren't matched by some sophisticated algorithm, then what we had wasn't real. That we were just two people who got lucky. The words settled between us. Weren't we? Does it matter? We chose each other, Cass. Every day, we chose each other. Until we stopped. I think about Victoria's revelation, about the billion-dollar company built on accidental success. About the randomness that somehow created more authentic connections than careful calculation. I filed a lawsuit against Perfect Match, I tell him. I know. I saw the news. I'm dropping it. David raises an eyebrow. Why? Because I realize I wasn't suing them for fraud. I was suing them for my own disappointment. For the gap between what I expected love to be and what it actually was. And what is it actually? Messier than I thought. More random. More dependent on choice than calculation. David reaches across the table, his fingers brushing mine. So what now? I look at the divorce papers, at the evidence of Perfect Match's deception, at the man I married based on a lie that accidentally told the truth. Now we decide if we want to choose each other again. Without the algorithm. Without the algorithm. The coffee grows cold as we talk, really talk, for the first time in months, about expectations and disappointments, about the weight of believing you're scientifically compatible versus the freedom of knowing you're just two people trying to figure it out together. By evening, the divorce papers are in the shredder, and I'm drafting a different kind of letter. Not to attorneys, but to Victoria. An offer to help Perfect Match navigate the transition from deception to transparency, to help them tell the story of how randomness created something real. David finds me at the laptop, typing. What are you working on? A new beginning, I say. For all of us. We're not 94% compatible. We're probably not even 60% compatible. But we're here, choosing each other without the safety net of algorithmic assurance. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's everything. Please like and subscribe for more great revenge story videos. Thank you for your support.